yes, in the long run, like 20, 30 years to implement, say, security, say, power source, because it's a natural, say, renewable energy, and also at the same time could be a base load power line, because if you extend the solar cells on the ground, it operates only on the daytime. You do need some way to, say, store electricity for the night. So we have compared the efficiency between the two cases, on the ground and in space. And the efficiency in space is approximately 10 times more efficient. So that's why we probably need to send it down to the, say, area with a diameter about 3 kilometers, or if we get more, wish to get more 10 kilometers wide area, beaming down dilute power beam. Then you can get it can be operated like power stations, like a nuclear power stations. So it's complementary. Yes.
Just wait. Yeah. Okay. There will come.
Yuki Mamura, Washington Strategy Group. Dr. Matsumoto, you gave me problems because you really gave us a lot of issues which we think of. And that is very much intriguing, and I was so much excited about thinking of that. So I'm saying that your problem is more positive rather than negative. Mm-hmm. So I do not know whether I can effectively express my questions, but let me just try, because there are so many issues which I'm interested in asking you. But among many issues which I am interested in asking you, but I want to just pick up two things. One is, yes, you mentioned about the tree, which is really going into so much complex and more specialized. But at the same time, there is some tendency that the trunk, we may miss the trunk. Mm-hmm. Now, the question here is, how could you really integrate or combine these so many specialized branches into more, closer to the trunk? Is it government policies or more close disciplines, collaborations? What is the problem? The question of the commercialization, which brings the science technology to the more human society? What is the relationship between science, technology, and art, and society, and so on and so forth? I'd like to have your thought, how you could effectively bring those different branches into a more trunk. And the one more thing which I just ask you is, if you talk about innovation, you may talk about entrepreneurship. How could you position entrepreneurship or entrepreneurs in the Japanese society, which is rather rigid, would not allow young, ambitious, the entrepreneurs to put their ideas into something which may bring the society more innovative style. Thank you.
This one. Okay, concerning the first question you raised, how we can, say, make young people or even older people to bring back from the top of the twigs to the trunk. That's a very difficult question, difficult task. However, the only way and efficient way we can do is a better education. So people sitting on the top are required to do research on their own, in their own special field. They have to fight daily. It's very difficult to bring them back immediately. However, we need a leader to understand what's going on the top of the twigs. That means the top of the sciences. But no one can do everything, right? So what we do is, as we showed here, do I have a microphone here? It's rather difficult to control here. Okay, here. How we bring back the people to understand almost very broad areas. That is, as I said, that shows the necessity. Oh, thank you. Necessity of education, new education systems. So Kyoto University is planning to launch a new grad school to, foster those people in these yellow areas. That means we ask them to study first in some areas. Everybody wants to do something special, right? Special as a specialty. But if we let them stay for a longer time, like 5 years, like in PhD courses, they get a difficulty to get out from the specialties. So in the new grad schools, we are planning to let them in the special field only for the first 2 years. Then ask them to go back to the common areas where they have to learn, they are forced to learn from philosophy, arts, economics, policy, and science, medical, bio. So they can understand not the very special top, but the basic trunk systems. And then let them further experience in the real world, knowing based on the specialty works and knowledge of what was a broader sense, and send them to the society. And to let them, especially in Japanese student case, we wish to send them out to the foreign countries. As you know, these days, the youngsters in Japan tend to stay at home and seem to lose their courage to go abroad. So probably we do need some systematic efforts to send them out to. And the second question, I'm sorry, just a moment. Second, entrepreneurship. That's a difficult question to me. That's, it's not a simple phenomenon. There are many ways. There are ways of running of enterprise in Japan, and a way of education, and a way of working style, etc. But these days, I would say, if we revise this kind of education system, forced to change their way of thinking, then entrepreneurship would rise. That's my hope. I'm sorry, it's a very vague answer.
Okay. Okay, one person in the back. Yeah.
My name is Richard Lanos. I'm at American University and also Ritsumeikan University. I was a visiting professor, and I teach entrepreneurship. One interesting anecdote, we're talking about the importance of education. 40 years ago, when I was a freshman at Princeton, Gerald O'Neill talked about the possibility of beaming down energy from space to the Earth. And then 10 years later, when I was at Harvard Business School, he came to present to people who he thought were going to go to Wall Street to interest them in this idea so that they could provide the capital for these kinds of investments. But it hasn't happened yet. I'm very excited to hear the things you have to say. My question is, what about space junk? And aren't we really possibly creating more vulnerable societies? I mean, maybe the blimp that beams down could satisfy that. But if you're going to have a major power station in space, large communities on Earth would become very dependent on it, and a meteor hits it, and you'll have a bigger crisis that's even further out of human control.
Yes, of course. I do not claiming that every power system should depend on space power. The best mix could be searched, So some, say, a couple of tens of space power would be available, but not hundreds, not thousands of. So we do need still some, say, power plant on the ground. So it's a supplementary, as I said, complementary or supplementary, I would say. And so for if the power station like a 1 gigawatt shut down, then we lose 1 gigawatt power loss. But the merits of space power station is that other space stations, SPS, other SPS can help to that area, because from the antenna on one space station can send a multiple beam at a time. Say site A, site B, site C. We can split. Of course, then the main receivers from this space power plant would be reduced, but 10% would be given to the, say, some point where this lost power station was feeding. So it can help. So that's another way, because we are using a radio power, radio waves. It's quite flexible to control.
Okay, then, yes. Third row.
Thank you. I totally disagree with your Malthusian view of civilization, but I thoroughly agree that we drastically need to expand our space research and so forth. As I'm sure you know, there's drastic cuts taking place against the NASA program here. Obama has tried to eliminate the manned space program altogether, and recently took down 2 satellite programs which were specifically oriented to investigating the interplay between solar flares and seismic events on Earth, the kind of thing that's created this series of severe earthquakes, most emphatically in your country. I wonder if you could comment on that and what you think the impact on the rest of the world is for this great NASA program to lose so much of its capacity.
Well, of course, NASA is the main driver of space development for the world. And JAXA's policy and ESA's policy are much influenced by NASA policy. That means the policy of the United States government. So I wish the United States government would keep the dreams and heart wishes for space cultivations. And as you might know, on the other hand, some industries like a PG&E, electric company in the States, have already offered the support for small satellite, test satellite for space powers. That's a good indication that the people are encouraged to invest research source to such kind of a space challenging program. And of course, as you might know, even the deep space exploration or SPS type of a large-scale project needs time to develop, like 10 years, 20 years. That means we do need, very few people invest on that program without help of the government. In the case of SPS, full-fledged SPS, probably it lasts for at least 30 to 40 years. Our design is 40 years. And in the first 20 years, the cost could be returned back. And after 20 years, we gained say, sizable benefit from the SPS project. That means industry who operates SPS have to wait 20 years. So during that 20 years, some public